We're back with part 2 of messing around in the introduction of Tears of the Kingdom. So hopefully there's going to be a few surprises and we'll discover some things that the developers didn't intend us to do. There's a fairly long dialogue piece with Raru, but we're just going to skip that. As the dialogue ends, there's a lingering shot on the Master Sword, hinting strongly that we're going to pick it up. But of course we're not going to do that. So I run around to try and find something non-obvious to do in this room, but there really isn't a lot going on in this room. The only real thing of interest is the roof and the plants growing up through it. Even here though, there's not a lot going on. The plants just kind of go into the roof and that's it. The only slight thing of interest is the ledge above the doorway. So I climb up and have a look, but there's really nothing there either. Climb a bit higher to get on top of the trees and just survey how boring this room is. There's really nothing to do whatsoever. So at this point I get frustrated and I go back to the Master Sword and I get it out. Nice depressing music, decayed Master Sword. And then with this weapon I get out of the room, as per you and everyone else who's played this game has done. So there's this big green button, but I'm obviously going to ignore that. And I wander around the room a bit. The door doesn't open, no surprises there. So we want to see if we can find a way up here. And to do that I go around and I test all the walls, make sure there's no way of climbing up. But yeah, the walls are all super slippery and I went around the entire room but I couldn't find anywhere where it was actually climbable. So after giving up with that, I looked at the water. I thought, oh, I wonder if I can get in here. Oh, I can swim. That means there's definitely one thing I can do which the developers didn't intend me to do. Drown. There's something worth noting here is I've got 2¼ hearts. This is from part 1 of this Messing Around series. Keep that in mind for later. And here he goes. Yep, it's gone. All I need to do is do that 3 times now. So I tried to speed this up by running around and then falling in the water. But there's actually a new mechanic in Tears of the Kingdom that when you fall into water you get a little bit of stamina. Of course, that's not going to stop us. And down he goes again. So at this point I save it and I've only got 1/4 heart left. Then I complete the task that I've set out to do. So there we go. Now I choose to continue and see what happens with my hearts. And strangely enough I'm back at a full 3 hearts, which is more than I had when I saved it and more than I had when I even started this this part of the game. So drowning helped you? It's a bit weird. So at this point I press the big green button. This gets the cog system working and also opens the door. But of course I don't want to go out that just yet. I'm still wondering whether there's a way up to these cogs. So I try a few things. And quite surprisingly the pillars are actually climbable. I don't know why the developers made the pillars climbable but not all the walls and everything else. It's a bit strange. I tried climbing up onto the ledge a few times but the overhang doesn't allow it. So as I was climbing up the left pillar I suddenly thought, can I use this to jump onto the cog system? It didn't work the first time but I was sure actually this could work, so I tried doing this for a few times. In fact, several times. Eventually I got on, but I couldn't do much and I just fell off again. So I had a look at the device and wondered if there's anything else I could jump on, maybe the little bits which come out the sides. But despite being able to repeatedly get on the device, I couldn't seem to do much once I was on. I'm really interested to see if anyone can actually use this, and maybe they can actually jump on something else or something and actually glitch through this, but I couldn't get any further. So finally, moving on from the big room, we come to this little room here. There's not much going on here apart from the ledges above the doors, so I have a look, but there's actually nothing really of interest up there. So here we come to the first of the jump platforms. When you're standing on these or near them, it gives you the option to jump, and this is coded in. At this point I thought, ooh, there's another pool of water. I know what I can do. I do feel a bit bad what I make Link do, but he's tough, he can handle it. Do I do it again and actually kill Link properly? No, I don't have anything to do it again. I think everyone knows I could, but it's yeah. Let's move on. So I climb up here, and then I look back and notice that maybe I should have a look at the roof a bit more carefully. But after carefully having a look around, it seems fairly uninteresting and pretty boring, so I move on. If I find out later someone found a glitch with these walls and the roof, I am going to kick myself, but let's hope that doesn't happen. So, dive platform number 2. I look around, there's a bit above the doorway, the roof doesn't look that interesting. I wonder, can I take full damage off this dive platform? I try again. So I try a few more times, but essentially you can't take damage. The platform's just too close to water, it doesn't work. So we come to dive platform number 3, and one of the areas where I think actually the developers have slipped up a little here. You can kill yourself quite easily on this platform. Allow me to demonstrate. That's gotta hurt. But we can do better. How about death and drowning? Or how about extreme pulverization? Or how about extreme pulverization and drowning? Then I got a little sidetracked and wondered, how close can I get to dying without actually dying? And this one was pretty close. Then I tried some trick dives. Then I tried to perfect this and make the technique a little bit sharper. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that dive. Anyway, back to what we're supposed to be doing. So the question is, why did the developers put this area in where it's actually quite easy to die? Why did they do that? The answer comes a bit later in this video, at the 4th dive platform. So this is a big old room, but actually there's nothing really here. And to save time on this video, I'm not going to show you me exploring this room, because it took a lot of time climbing around, but actually there was no benefit. So I was about to open the chest. Then a thought occurred to me, I wonder if I can break it open with the Master Sword, or even better, break the Master Sword. Is it possible for the Master Sword to run out of power hitting the chest? Should work, shouldn't it? So the short answer is no, it doesn't work. And I actually experimented on this later on outside the scope of this video. I still can't break the Master Sword against the chest. It doesn't seem to work. Maybe chests do not actually affect the durability of your weapon. They don't degrade it, which is interesting. I didn't know that, but apparently that's what it is. So as you run down this corridor to the outside, these birds fly off. I wondered, can you actually get the birds? Can you kill them? A bit macabre of me, but I wondered whether it would allow you to do that. So I tried. But no, I couldn't get it to work. Maybe someone out there will do a better job. So you walk out towards the light. I did stop and just check the corridor behind me, make sure I hadn't missed anything, but no, there's nothing interesting there. So we emerge into the light and we find the 4th jump pad or diving pad. And this is the point of what we went through earlier. Those first 3 pads were to train you psychologically, such that when you see these pads, you know you jump. If they just hit you here with here's this cliff and this drop into God knows what, players wouldn't think immediately to jump. That's why the 3rd one, even though it's dangerous, it's getting you used to jumping off heights. And they don't really give you any more options here. You're surrounded by these walls that are all slippy and you can't climb any of them. That doesn't mean we're not going to try a few things. So I want to know if there's any way around this and escaping this jump, or at least as a minimum jumping in a different direction and basically changing where you land. So first of all, I tried jumping off the side here, but as you can see, the animation actually pulls you round back to where you'd be falling if you jumped off the front. It's quite clever like that, and a little frustrating. The introduction in my mind ends when the title comes up like it did, but I still want to see if I can mess up or bodge the landing or anything else like that. And then it finally gives you back control at this point, but you have very little ability to change where you're going to land. So this time I land neatly in the water. This time I try jumping off on the right side, but same thing happens. It pulls you around exactly the same and forces you to land in the correct area. Next time I try something different. I actually run around and drain my stamina and then see if actually that makes any difference as I come down. It should do, but is it going to? Nope. Stamina's at a full wheel. That doesn't work. Interesting. Next time I do a straight dive off the platform, but this time I'm trying to land badly, so I'm trying to belly flop at terminal velocity into a lily pad. However, that doesn't actually kill you. The game is set up such that landing on lily pads is the same as landing on water. So I'm trying to work my way down to the edge and I accidentally fall off. And this time I decide to investigate what happens if you push forward on the controller all the way. I want to see the limits of how far north you can land. As you can see, you're never actually in danger of hitting anything. So again, they've controlled it very carefully to make sure your landing is safe. I tried climbing down here and seeing if I can move around or get past the unclimbable walls, but it's not possible, and in the end I just ended up slipping off again. So this time I hold down the controller as much as I can to see how far south I can land. But again, you're never in danger of actually hitting anything that's going to hurt you. So I try the same going down the other side, but with pretty much the same results. I try a slightly different approach here and head instead for this outcropping that's growing down here, but it still doesn't really work. So one final attempt, I try and go down the front underneath the jump platform. But you don't have to be a genius to guess what happens. So credit to Nintendo, they've done their job well, because I can't find a way to mess up this drop sequence. However, there is one thing I'd like to point out. This whole full sequence is kind of faked, and to prove this point, what I've done is I've got some footage of my character from much further ahead in the game, come back to this part and done the drop, and you'll see that actually if I put the drops side by side, you can see how in reality the drop is much faster. What they've done is during this intro sequence where the title comes up, they've artificially slowed your descent down, or possibly even stopped it completely, and instead they rotate the camera around to get the angles, making it look like you're descending, but you're actually not. So why do they do this? To get the epic music in, to rouse you with the excitement of the new game, and to bring up the title of the game. That's it. It fit better with the psychology of trying to inspire the player. That's why they slowed it down. And to be fair to them, it works. It's a brilliant introduction. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of this video. That's the end of this part of the game. The introduction is over. Now we enter what I call the tutorial phase of the game. It's where it teaches you the key skills. And believe me, we're going to have some fun here. There are a lot of new options here. The map has opened up a lot and they can't control it as well as they could in the introduction. So we're going to have some fun. But that's time for another video. So for now, thank you for watching and goodbye.